Here's a quick update on the deployment for Saturday the 25th of November. This is going to blow you away. We've been creating actually a mass of rain around Portugal and Spain, and it's been coming over. Yeah, let's start this up. Let's make it a bit slower. And there would have been a lot more rain if it hadn't been for what I'm about to show you. And it's not just about Nexrads. If you notice these deployments, capacitive Nexrad deployments from Valencia, got that one on Google Earth and 3D, we all know about it. I found that 3 years ago. Loads on Mallorca, I've done videos on that. You can see how they are hitting the rains and dropping it very heavily here on the coast. We've been deploying here, been lots of rain there. We've been deploying out in the Atlantic, bringing this rain in. But have a look at this. This is something I found today, which is amazing. Now, look at the algorithmic edges of these clouds and a second layer and across here. And as I play them, you can see all the algorithmic frequencies which are hitting these cloud edges. And of course they penetrate right through. In fact, let's play it. There we go. Precipitation in 3-hour sections. But this is coming through. Let's go back to the 25th, which is where we deployed, and here's the rains that we've been hitting. But we couldn't understand. There should have been 3, 4, 5 times the rain that we've seen. But the giveaway are these frequencies, and I'm going to show you in a moment. But you can see those leading edges, both here round about the central, top and bottom from the central. So let me bring it through, back again. There's a typical example, but around this Midland area as well. Okay, here we go. This is that exact same area. The satellite reading is not wrong, it is correct. And you can see these frequencies with the swags, the leading edge, which is there, cut out. That's today on, you can see that line that they were showing. I'm going to show you one of the things that causes that. And everywhere you look down that line, you can see the frequencies that we're all familiar with, but they're in these loop end circles, which is where they deploy on the leading edge. And there's many others that you can see. This is also part of it. That possibly could have been a chemtrail. If somebody in Spain today saw big chemtrails heading from west to east, that's been put there to enhance this here. Now this is a Spanish naval base, Armada Española, and if you look at this, that's their base, and it's very much to do with frequency transmissions like the big one in Australia exposed. And this is what they've got just up from here on this base. Let's have a look at this. Now look closely at this. What you will see is a big ring of antennae. I'm going to swing it round the way the photo was taken so you can now actually see these transmitter, a full ring of transmitters in a circle. These are the shadows, then the posts, and you can see they end up in the middle, smack in the middle. So why is this so important? Well, have a look at this. This is the Montejar Spain wavefront analysis for the CDAA. And what it does, it sends frequencies up in the shape that we've seen in the clouds to monitor. And the company that builds these also monitors the weather. and it produces atmospheric frequencies exactly the same as this. There you go. Just look at that. And them are the frequencies that we've seen. Look at the leading edge with the scoops, algorithmic, and also the frequencies that you can see. There's the circular round transmitters, and of course they can bend it and twist it in any direction that you like. And this company obviously specialises also right down to 3D optical profilers. They do precision meteorology systems, lasers that send frequencies and pulses into the atmosphere, and also reading flat surfaces in great high detail. So these are equipment, lasers, for producing frequencies and wavelengths that can also be used in the atmosphere for do readings, as we've just seen. That is just a producer of frequencies that we've seen that land-based one at the Spanish naval base. So here's lasers being generated by equipment for a small scale and a large scale too. And this is what we know lasers can do. And this is common knowledge, not even to labour on this, because we know scientists are able to control the weather using lasers. And he obviously talks about it here.
Instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. This is potentially a game changer. But this is...
Yeah, it's a nice game changer, and this is what they can do. And it says that once the laser hits a certain point and it spreads out, it collapses in on itself. The collapse becomes so intense the electrons in the air's oxygen and nitrogen are ripped off, creating plasma, basically a soup of electrons. When it reaches that point, the laser tries to spread the beam out and eventually collapses in on itself. This struggle is known as filamentation and creates a light string that only lasts for a short time before it disperses. Mr. Mills said, because a filament creates excited electrons in its wake as it moves, it artificially seeds the conditions necessary for rain and lightning to occur. And then they show a picture of a drought. That'll work. And by the way, while we're on drought, as they're reporting here, water drought across the world. And I'm going to do a GoFundMe early next year, and we're going to look at places around Africa to actually build a large cloudbuster and some very powerful translators that I'm sure will make a big difference to the area. But more on that later. Now, these have appeared exactly the same time as the teams have been deploying in central Portugal and Spain. And we know when we start to deploying, it reveals the skeletal form of these clouds. And as the clouds peel back with the deployment, even those get more intense and then disappear. But you can see the frequency areas where they've crossed, and these will lead back to transmitters as well from an area where they cross over. Valencia ones just up here. Interestingly, you can see the same ones that lead straight into transmitters. You see this triangular area here, there's more there. There are Nexrads right there in the Mediterranean, and there's a straight line that comes across here doing exactly the same thing. Frequencies generated at 90 degrees perpendicular to the main column. So, for tomorrow, we're going to do a day's deployment finally on Sunday, and on Monday we'll do a separate deployment for the Mediterranean. What I was looking at for one day to shut down completely. We don't want to overdo the medicine, that creates further problems, but I'll give some further updates in a later video. Thanks for all your efforts today, guys, making a big difference over Spain and Portugal, absolutely, and generating rains in lots of other places once we put the efforts together. That, folks, is what etheric rain looks like, scattered over hundreds of thousands of square miles in tiny little pockets. That's across in Europe as well, just to have a quick look at that. That's how it works.